I just got done watching Strange World, the brand new Disney animated movie that probably many of you guys have forgotten about because it seems like the marketing is nowhere for this movie, and that just absolutely breaks my entire heart because animation is my favorite form of filmmaking. And after seeing this movie, while I did not love it and I absolutely wanted more from this movie, I would still say that it's a delightful homage to 1960s adventure movies, and if you're just looking for something to put a smile on your face and for you to adventure onward into, this is a movie that I think a lot of you guys will probably enjoy. So with that said, guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button as well as comment down below your guys' thoughts. This is going to be my non-spoiler review for the film, so let's dive into it. In Strange World, the Clades are a legendary family of explorers whose differences threaten to topple their latest and most crucial mission into uncharted and treacherous territories. Now, it stars the likes of Jake Gyllenhaal, Young White, Alan Tudyk, Dennis Quaid, Gabriella Union, and of course Lucy Liu. And it's directed by Don Hall, who's done movies such as Big Hero 6 and co-directed like films like Moana. Now, again, you get all these animators, you get a great cast in there, you get a great idea, and I very rarely never even saw a trailer for this. I saw like snippets of posters and clips, and it all looked very unique and stylistic to me, and I really love a lot of that. And what I can say definitely with one of my biggest pros, as I say with almost every Disney animated movie as well as Pixar, is that the animation is out of this world. These are the two best animators in the entire business, as well as when it comes down to animated movies. These two are the ones that truly enough always blow my mind with just certain details, whether it's within a mustache or hair or just in general how they animate certain creatures and effects in here. There's this new creature in here named Splat, which I was just really a big fan of in the way that it kind of moved and framed and stuck around. The animation was specific for each and every one of the characters as well as each and every one of the creatures in here. And I thought it was unique to say the least. It actually, the last movie that Disney made that very much reminded me of elements like this is from Atlantis and Treasure Planet, which are two of the most underrated movies in all of Disney's landscapes. And honestly, Strange World kind of gave me a little bit of vibes from those. Is it as great as those? No, I wouldn't, because Treasure Planet and Atlantis for me are like top 10 Disney animated movies of all time, specifically Treasure Planet. I cannot get enough of that movie. But I think in the future, like when we look back at Strange World, I think a lot of us are going to look at the potential that this movie had, but as well as how fun this world was. And while, again, my title and really much my whole thesis for this review is that I wanted more from it, the reason I wanted more from it is for two different reasons. One, because I was really enjoying the world. I was really enjoying the characters, as well as really enjoying this concept and stylistic approach to it. Specifically how the movie opens up. This 1960s serialization of adventurers going out reminded me of the first time that I ever saw the original Journey to the Center of the Earth, and definitely this movie has homages to that, and it even has homages to the editing of Star Wars. The transitions and everything within this story is absolutely really impressive, and in fact it was one of the things that really latched me onto the entire story. And the characters itself are something that I also were a big fan of. Every single character in here, whether it's Searcher Clade or Ethan Clade or Jaeger Clade, which is played by Dennis Quaid, and this is probably like some of the most fun that Dennis Quaid has had with a role in forever. I didn't even actually know it was Dennis Quaid till I looked at the credits and I was like, oh, that was Dennis Quaid. That's pretty damn cool. Again, just something that kept putting a smile on my face. The characters interacting, the characters exploring this world, seeing what this world has to behold. I wanted more of all of that. And there's two things to this movie that kind of, when I look at it, there's two issues that I have with this film. One is the theme of fatherhood and very much your son and legacy. Those messages are very important. There's something that I feel that many fathers and sons, and maybe just sons and mothers and whatever, deal with legacy and what your parents are expecting of you as a kid and what you are expecting of your parents. And I do feel that those were some of the most important messages in here, even if it gets very repetitive and very obvious for where it's going to go. I knew from top to bottom what was going to happen in this movie. And for me, it kind of sucked because I wanted a little bit more from there. And there was a point in the movie where I was like, all right, this is the perfect part to end this issue kind of going around here. And if you end it here, you can start really diving into the story. And I never felt like they really did that. They didn't really come to that conclusion until literally the third act and really much the climax of the entire movie. And that was one of the bigger issues with the movie for me, is just how repetitive it felt, because the world itself is something I wanted to explore more of. And what they end up doing is pulling a Captain America the First Avengers, is montaging through some of the most brilliant and beautiful parts of this world that they're kind of just going through. Giant air carrier for like majority of the movie, and again, it's a cool device and it's cool to see all the giant landscapes and everything, but when I go to a movie like this, an adventure movie, I want to see them on the ground. I want to see them exploring, seeing what this landscape has to have. And I wish they did a little bit more of that in this movie. I do think this movie was a little bit too short. It's about an hour and a half before credits. So take that as what you will. This movie could have easily used another 20 minutes to really develop the world. And I think that was one of the things that maybe would have helped that pacing really build up to it, because I get where they were going with the message. I like where they went with the message. It just felt repetitive, and it took away from the adventure of it all, where you could have weaved the themes in there a little bit more. And the other thing I would even say is I would love if this was a Disney Plus series. Like, if they were to continue with these characters, kind of continuing with everything on that, I think it would be actually pretty cool to see like a serialization, or each episode's a different anthology following around these characters, because I really enjoyed their company, and I really enjoyed in general the adventure that they went on. The things I do want to mention about this movie is, because it's a highly talked about thing, is the LGBT community and how this movie touches on it. There's clearly a main character that is in this community, and I know many people are wondering, okay, is it just kind of slapsticked in there? Is this one of those things that kind of just goes in there and they just included it to check it off a list? I would say this is actually some of the best that they've done in like any of the Disney and Pixar animated stuff, and just in general even live action. One of the main characters is this, and it's just there, and I like that. And again, I can't speak to it completely, so let me know down below what you guys think of the representation in here. But for me, I thought this was a nice progression for it, and it was just seamless. And even enough, like I debated on even talking about it in this review, because from one part, it's not something for me to say. I would rather hear from most of my peers who are in those communities to talk about it and let me know how they feel that they were represented. But I have to say, for the most part, from what I could tell and from what I could see, this is the best representation that a Disney movie has had yet. So maybe it'll get a little bit more. And in general, it should just be as seamless as it is. It should just be a thing. It shouldn't even be a discussion, but that's another topic for another time. And again, I can't wait to see your guys' thoughts on that. Before I get to the end of this review, the last thing I really want to do mention is, of course, Henry Jackman's score. I actually do think that is one of the wonderful things that ties this entire film all together, with its themes, its natures, and specifically the adventure that you're going on, because Strange World is a delightful homage to 1960s adventures that should not be missed. Like, if you are a fan of Disney animated movies, do not miss this in theaters. Please show that you love animated movies. I can't get enough. I do not want to see my damn animated Disney and Pixar movies going on Disney Plus. I was already pissed about that with Turning Red and pretty much Raya getting shoved to the shit end. But other than that, this has fantastic animation, a wonderful score, and a creative new world that I had fun with. But in the end, I wanted more. And I wanted more from a couple different aspects. I wanted more from the adventure. I didn't want it to be a montage, and it feels very repetitive when it comes down to the messaging, where I feel like it should have dove more into the world itself. But even with that said, I walked away with a smile on my face. I enjoyed it. It's not one of the best movies of the year, but it's also just one of those movies that if you would ask me, hey, Zach, did you enjoy that? I would say, yeah, 2 thumbs up. It's definitely worth your time. If you like Disney animated movies, this is, again, not one of the top tier ones. One that I can recommend, and it's one that I will look back on in the future and be like, that was a really cool concept. I wish they went more in that. But sadly, I feel like this is going to be a one and done, and that sadly breaks my heart. So with all that said, I'm going to give Strange World a B. Let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are on this ody. I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts. So make sure to, again, hit that like, subscribe button, comment down below, and make sure to look forward to a ton of more reviews coming up. It's Thanksgiving week. I got a shit ton, and I posted a shit ton last week. So make sure to go check those out. But of course, until next time, stay classy.